For centuries, pilgrimage has moved the core of Christian life. From the road to Santiago to the ancient ways of Rome, generations have set out on foot in search of faith, renewal and grace. Today that tradition continues. This is a pilgrimage to Chartres, an act of faith, sacrifice and fellowship, drawing the faithful from across France and around the world. Yesterday, 20,000 pilgrims set out on their 100-kilometer journey to mark the Feast of Pentecost. Today, we follow their footsteps across the sunlit fields of France, through hard miles of prayer and procession, towards the spires of Chartres Cathedral. I'm François Valentin and I'll be your host. I'm here with Padre Apeles, who is guiding us through the spiritual, historical and liturgical meaning of what we are witnessing. Welcome back to our special coverage of the 2026 Chartres pilgrimage, a path to Pentecost. Welcome back to the path to Pentecost at Chartres. Yesterday we began this journey in Paris. We watched as a gathering of 20,000 pilgrims left the church of Saint-Sulpice and transformed into a sacred procession. Today the nature of that pilgrimage changes. The excitement of setting out has started to pass a little bit and there is a long journey still ahead. Feet are sore, shoulders are aching. The pilgrims have only taken a few hours sleep in open fields, and this year, this glorious weather is adding another burden. It is about 30 degrees Celsius here in northern France, almost 90 degrees Fahrenheit for American viewers, and it is expected to climb higher still. In today's program, we take you to Mass in the fields outside of Rambouillet. Joining me is Padre Apeles. Father, how do you see the meaning of a second day, when the road begins to truly hurt?
Thank you and good afternoon, François. Yes, it's a pleasure to be here with you on this beautiful day. But to be honest, I'm a little relieved that we have been able to find some shade from the sun. As you say, this is the day when the pilgrimage begins to feel more real. At the beginning, there is enthusiasm, there is joy, there is singing, there is the strength that comes from setting out with companions. By now, the pilgrims is beginning to feel the physical limits of the body. He feels the heat, the tiredness, the discomfort. That is not separate from the pilgrimage, it's part of it.
So in other words, and perhaps contrary to what our viewers in the US or around the world might expect, the physical hardship isn't a distraction. In a sense, it's actually quite the opposite.
Exactly. There is a reason why pilgrims live in fields instead of hotels. The road is teaching them something, and today at Rambouillet, all of that effort will be gathered up and placed before God.
Well, on that subject, Father, let's look back at how day 2 began.
Et on me fait un truc de grand sénateur. Chapitre Saint-Gildas, chapitre Saint-Gildas, chapitre Saint-Gildas, oh oh, chapitre Saint-Gildas. Je suis Saint-Gildas, tu es Saint-Gildas, nous c'est Saint-Gildas et ça c'est bien. Hey.
My name is Timothy Gillier. I'm from France, Lyon, and I'm very happy to be here. Actually, I've heard about this pilgrimage for multiple years. I was like, you know what, I might as well come here. It's a great place to be able to be with friends, to live my faith. It's also like a physical, it's a difficult walk, and I thought the mix of all this was a very nice thing to do. Young, I was only Catholic because, it was what my parents had taught me, but I was able to really discover my faith on my own, and it's something that really has brought a lot for me in my life.
My name is Jan, I'm from Poland. I'm doing pilgrimage because my father was to the pilgrimage in Chartres in 88 or 89, and for many years he wanted to bring his children to this pilgrimage. Although we in Poland have the movement of pilgrimages is very advanced, and it also inspired the pilgrimage to Chartres at some point.
Up on the camera, for sure.
Particulièrement parmi les personnes jeunes, il y a un vrai regain, un vrai intérêt pour la foi, parce que les gens cherchent du sens, cherchent un sens dans la vie, parce qu'on leur a dit que Dieu n'existait pas, qu'ils n'ont pas eu cette transmission de la foi et de tout ce qui est spirituel, mais il y a un véritable besoin. Donc bien que l'Europe soit très déchristianisée, on assiste à un retour à la foi et c'est plutôt une bonne chose. Après, il faut évidemment prier pour que ça continue comme ça. On pourra peut-être refabriquer une Europe chrétienne. Ça serait plutôt fou de venir rejoindre ce pèlerinage parce qu'en fait, on invite quelqu'un à souffrir pendant 3 jours, va avoir des douleurs, on va être fatigué. Mais c'est ça qui est beau, c'est de retrouver le sens de la pénitence, du sacrifice, donc par des douleurs physiques, de la fatigue qu'on va pouvoir offrir au Seigneur. Et aussi peut-être pour ceux qui souhaiteraient découvrir un petit peu le milieu de la tradition. Et aussi parce que c'est une belle expérience, un beau témoignage de foi. On peut discuter avec beaucoup de personnes qui ont des parcours très différents. Tout le monde n'est pas au même niveau dans la foi et on fait souvent de très belles rencontres lors de ce pèlerinage.
François, j'espère que tu regardes tes livres. Bonjour François.
Ok, bonjour, je m'appelle Audrey. C'est actuellement mon 2e pèlerinage de Chartres et je fais ce pèlerinage avec l'équipe de SOS Chrétiens d'Orient, qui est une association humanitaire qui part dans certains pays comme la Syrie, le Liban, l'Éthiopie, l'Irak, l'Égypte et l'Arménie, ainsi que la Jordanie. Cette association a pour but d'aider les chrétiens à rester dans leur pays. Moi personnellement, je suis partie 1 an en Syrie en tant que secrétaire général, également au Liban et en Éthiopie. Et aujourd'hui, nous marchons avec les drapeaux de ces différents pays afin de les représenter et d'aller à Chartres tous ensemble.
Remarkable scenes from this morning. Father, how would you describe the atmosphere of the pilgrimage during the night?
One of the most important moments of the day, especially for young people. Instead of phones and emails, the prayers, the singing, the conversation are all opportunities for young people to find a truly human and Christian connection.
You were speaking earlier about the role of a body in our spiritual life. Could you expand about this? Tell us a bit more about it.
Yes, Christianity has always understood the importance of physical self-discipline as a part of faith. This is not because the body is bad, it's because the body must also be offered to God. We see this in the saints, Saint Teresa of Avila, Saint John of the Cross. They recognize that discipline, sacrifice and perseverance can open the soul to grace. And of course, for many saints, penance and fasting have been a gateway to the transcendent. Today, many people understand sacrifice in a physical way, but pilgrimage teaches us that physical effort can have spiritual meaning. This is particularly important for young people. These pilgrims are not suffering to lose weight or improve their physical fitness. They are realizing that physical suffering is a part of a spiritual life. All of their labor, all of this sweating under the sun can become an offering to Christ.
Yes, and actually, if I can add something here, I was struck when you were talking, it made me think of something. Young people often seem to turn nowadays to sports and fitness influencers who actually are quite demanding with their followership. They seem to look for ways of structuring their lives, learning to make effort, learning discipline. A lot of this is actually quite painful and demanding. So I wonder whether these young people here who will watch those influencers are learning to apply similar principles but to their spiritual life.
Exactly. And perhaps we'll see that lesson when they arrive for the Mass at Rambouillet. The Mass is not a pause from the pilgrimage. It's the most important moment of the day.
And practically, this is actually a remarkable, extraordinary undertaking, especially in this kind of weather. We've got thousands of pilgrims who have to be organized in fields. They are structured in chapter. Where possible and when possible, they'll be given water and perhaps protected from the heat if they can find a bit of shade. And meanwhile, you have all the preparations for the liturgy who will be underway. Father, could you tell us more about the idea of saying Mass in an open field?
We are processing towards one of the world's most beautiful cathedrals. And pilgrimage would not exist without sacred places. Many of the people drawn here today have come to the faith through the traditional Roman rite. I think it's obvious why. Young people in particular have already experienced everything the world has to offer. The idea of seeking transcendence through the beauty and mystery of the rite is clearly something special. But of course, when you have a pilgrimage, it's not always possible to celebrate Mass in a church. So as beautiful as cathedrals often are, I see a Mass like this as a reminder of the beauty of the liturgy. And at the same time, there is a simple act of faith itself.
Thank you, Father. We take you now to highlight some of that open-air Mass outside of Rambouillet earlier today. We are here with Paul. Paul is a Boy Scout. He's in charge of one of the Boy Scout troops from Troyes in eastern France. He's here in Chartres. Paul, you slept around here last night. How are you doing this morning? Not too tired, not too painful? Are you okay?
It's very tired. It's not an easy pilgrimage to do with so young children. They have between 8 and 11, so it's very hard, but it's for the Christ, so it's worth it.
And it's very, very hot as well, and it's going to keep rising, so good luck on managing all of this. How important is a pilgrimage like this? You know, as a Boy Scout, as a Catholic, what does it mean to be in Chartres for those moments?
It's the confluence of the two of the Catholicism and the Scotism, the effort, the sport, the nature that we found in Scoutism, and the religion, the priest that we found in pilgrimage and in church.
So that was an interview with our Boy Scout Paul. We're very lucky to have had him. Mass is nearing. As you can see, there's a proper crowd by this point, and it's going to start imminently. It's one of the highlights of the pilgrimage, so stay tuned for that, and thank you very much. We are joined by Father João. We're very lucky to have him. Father João is Portuguese. He's operated all over the world, a lot in Africa, and also he was ordained by Bishop Schneider, who we'll be talking to later. So we're very lucky to have you. Welcome to France, welcome to Chartres. Could you tell us something that he taught you, something that stays with you to this day?
Well, I know Bishop Schneider very well. Since 2014 we've been very close. And he was very helpful and I think essential on my vocation also. So I owe a lot. He's like a spiritual father to me. So he always taught me that the truth has to be defended again with charity and without being afraid of the consequences, because we are not afraid of the powers of this world. we are afraid of not being able to be honest with the truth and be faithful to God.
What is so special? What draws you to Chartres?
One thing that unites us here is also the sacrifice, meaning this pilgrimage, as you can see, is hot,
Yes, very hot.
especially hot this year. So it's also a pilgrimage where you don't have a bed to sleep on, you don't have a shower, you walk all day, almost without stopping. And all of this also unites us together because we have a goal that's common. And together we help each other to arrive to this goal. Even the people that are staying a little bit behind, they have friends that, please come, don't give up, come with us.
Ecce agnus Dei, ecce qui tollis peccata mundi. Domine non sum dignus, tinte subtectum meum sit Domine non sum dignus.
So that was a Mass in Rambouillet this afternoon. Plenty of tired faces for sure, but equally a lot of peaceful smiles. After the heat and the strain of a day, what kind of comfort can a Mass like this provide to our pilgrims?
It gives the pilgrims what they most need, not only rest, but encounter. I ask myself why these communal rituals are so important to Christian life. Technology is extremely useful in preaching. Many discover faith through digital means. But afterwards, Christians need something more. They need a true encounter with God. They need the sacraments, they need prayer, and they need the belonging of Christian fellowship. This is what the traditions and the liturgy of the Church provide.
I was struck by something you said earlier about the importance of liturgy and traditions of a church, even when Mass is celebrated in a very normal field.
Yes, because the beauty of the Church is not only in stone and glass, as important as those things are. The beauty is also in the rite and in the prayer. And it's also in the presence of Christ and in the faith of people gathered before Him. That is tremendously important in a world which so often bombards us with materialism and rationalism.
Well, someone who has plenty to tell us about building faith through hardship is Bishop Athanasius Schneider. He's an auxiliary bishop of Astana in Kazakhstan, and he himself has done the pilgrimage many times. Earlier I spoke with Bishop Schneider. We talked about his own memories of a pilgrimage, but also his upbringing in the underground Catholic Church in the Soviet Union, and on a very fundamental level, the meaning of suffering for faith. Your Excellency, for viewers around the world tuning in, can you explain what is a Chartres pilgrimage?
Well, the Chartres pilgrimage is an annual pilgrimage on the Pentecost, days before Pentecost and on Pentecost, of traditional Catholics, mainly from France, but all over Europe and evermore even from the United States and other countries. What unites them is their love for the faith and liturgy of the tradition. It means of their fathers, of their grandparents, of the saints who preceded us.
Excellency, you've mentioned your experience with a Chartres pilgrimage. Maybe for people around the world who want to get a sense of what the experience is like, Could you share us an anecdote, a favorite memory of your first pilgrimage?
Yes, I was very impressed. First, simply the joy. It is tiring, even physically, to march and for children. But I noticed I was walking a long distance, even with children, through the woods, and I was noticing this joy. They were singing, they were praying, and it was a beautiful message of joy of the Catholics, of young Catholics. And then also in the evening when we arrived for the overnight and so, it was also impressive, the friendship, the mutual help. Even there were different countries, different languages. And I noticed this spontaneous friendship between young people of other countries and what they united. And then we all were kneeling. This was one of the most impressive moments of my experience. In the night, we were all kneeling there, even on the grass, and doing the adoration of the most blessed sacrament. It was the exposition of the blessed sacrament.
Why do you think Chartres pilgrimage is not only important, but also increasing in importance year after year? Why do you think it resonates so much in this day and age?
Yes, because it is ever more first participated by young people, and it shows that the importance of transmitting the unchanging faith of the saints, of our parents, of our grandparents, in the liturgy to our time, to the next generation, is not, as sometimes they are accused, a nostalgia, or it is really a necessity of our heart, of our Catholic faith. It is a value which the Church gave us since the centuries. And so we appreciate it and we treasure it. And it is for us very important in our time to show this beauty, which we did not invent, but it was given us by the Church, by the Mother Church, through the centuries. And so this was our Mother Church gave us, and the saints gave us, and so many popes gave us this faith, Catholic faith, traditional faith, liturgy. We want to live it evermore and transmit it, the beauty, because the beauty of faith, of truth, and of the beauty of worship, it attracts, and it is Christ. He is the truth, he is the beauty, and it is Christ who attracts this. And so we see in these Chartres pilgrimage and similar pilgrimages that the young people, the children, young families, even converts, they are even attracted simply to experience this beauty, this, I would even say, this freshness of the traditional faith. It is nothing to do with museum, as they accuse us oftentimes. It's not museum, it's living freshness of the faith and the liturgy of the saints. And this matters very much.
Thank you very much. I think it's a nice full circle that we talked about sacrifice and joy in your last answer. Thank you very much, Excellency.
You're welcome. God bless all the participants of this beautiful pilgrimage.
Thank you again to Bishop Schneider for those reflections. What stays with me was how often he returned to the idea that pilgrimage isn't nostalgia. It is something living. And he spoke especially about young people, about children, families, and friendships across language and country.
Yes, and his remarks bring us back to the idea of continuity. Pilgrimage is a living tradition, of course, But that tradition has not survived without sacrifice. The hardship these pilgrims have suffered today remind us in a small way of what we owe to the generations who kept the traditions of the Church alive through many persecutions. And now, of course, passing those traditions on to young people from around the world is how we preserve those traditions into the future. This is very important because those traditions are not simply customs, they lead us to Christ.
Many of the pilgrims passing by have been suffering pretty badly from the heat by now. Some have started to slow down, some are being helped along the way. Father, what should we make of all those hardships?
Pilgrimage is not a race. The point is not to prove strength. The point is to walk in faith. For some pilgrims, that means continuing all the way. For others, it might mean accepting weakness, accepting help, or even accepting the disappointment of being unable to continue. That too is a part of pilgrimage. Christian life is not lived only by the strong, it's lived by the weak, the tired, the wounded, the sick, the elderly. Attrition does not destroy the procession. It also reveals its meaning.
And I suppose the endurance on display is not the only form of sacrifice here.
No, someone may be walking in the front with a banner, someone else might be sitting by the roadside, another might be helping a child, encouraging a friend. All of that belongs to the same pilgrimage. The tradition lives because it's carried by real people in real bodies with real limitations. Pilgrimage is not just an idea. It's faith walked through dust, heat and fatigue in a spirit of hope, prayer and charity.
And perhaps that is why the moments the Bishop described earlier are so powerful. Children kneeling in the grass, young people keeping vigil, strangers becoming friends. It's part of the experience.
Yes, these are very simple things, but they reveal the core of the pilgrimage. The heat will pass, the pain will pass, but the pilgrim will remember this experience for the rest of his life.
Well, as the second day draws on, we are seeing both sides of a pilgrimage. Yes, for cost, but also for grace that comes through it. Some pilgrims are finding the road harder now, but the procession continues, and tomorrow the road will take us to Chartres. That is all from us today. We've seen a lot of fatigue, but also some moments of real beauty. And the spires of Chartres are now almost in sight. So join us tomorrow for the final day of the 2026 Chartres pilgrimage, A Path to Pentecost.